Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be doing a chit chat with you guys, and I'm going to be talking about my experience taking my summer human anatomy course. I feel like I really learned something about myself, and I also think the Lord just really grew me and challenged me and exposed different areas of my life through taking this course. It was a little wild. I was very stressed out. Um, so, yeah, let's just go ahead and get straight into it. So, first of all, because it's a summer course, right? It was about 8 weeks, I want to say. So everything was very condensed in the sense of time. We still went through the entire book. Like, I don't think any of the chapters were skipped except maybe one. Yeah, maybe like one chapter was skipped. But for the most part, like, we went over everything. And that's a lot of information to cover within 8 weeks. The first week, we kind of just like hit the ground running. Um, I think we didn't really have a lot of assignments, but it was basically you're just having like quizzes, tests, practicals. Like, it felt like almost every week, if not every other week. And then some assignments would get thrown in there. You would have some reading quizzes online, and it was just really, really a lot. So when I first came in, I was thinking, oh, you know what? I really liked anatomy when I was in high school, which, side note, I checked my transcript recently and it says physiology. So this whole time I'm thinking that I took anatomy in high school, but it was actually physiology. But I feel like with high school, they kind of mix everything together anyway. So there could have been some anatomy in there. I don't know. And anatomy and physiology kind of go hand in hand anyway. But I digress. So, what was I trying to say? Oops. Yeah, anyway, it was just a lot. So, in that first week, you're getting to know your teacher, right? You're figuring out like um how they teach, and like kind of what the tests are going to be like. So, I feel like it takes like 2 weeks at least to get into a rhythm of things, but you didn't really have the time to fully get into that rhythm. Like, every test kind of counted. But I remember what I was going to say, so let me backtrack. Sorry. When I first got in, I was thinking I really enjoyed anatomy when I was in high school. It wasn't, a problem for me. I didn't think it was like, oh my gosh, this is super, super challenging. So I thought I would be like fine in this class. And I was fine in this class, but I was just like more stressed out than I needed to be. Um, I'm pretty sure like my first test that I took for lab, the first lab quiz I took, I failed. Um, the first exam I took, the multiple choice section, I got like a D. So I was just kind of like, oh, well, this is just going to be hard then. I still wasn't super worried about my grade. And keeping in mind that while I'm taking this summer course, um, it's not like I just have this one thing to focus on because I'm still working, right? And so that was very hard for me to balance both of those things, because then you come home and it's just like you're tired, but then you still have to study and you still have to read. And I was trying to figure out how to take notes, because the way this class was, it's like for me, I had to have everything ready. So I finally realized, a couple weeks in, that it was better for me to just print out the lecture notes. Before, I was kind of like trying to type out my own notes and then just adding whatever he was showing us um, to my own personal notes, but that didn't work. So, yeah, I ended up figuring that out, but it was just one of those classes where I felt like in order for me to get the most out of the class, I had to study before I came to class. I had to have the notes printed out. I had to have my laptop on, you know, logged in and just ready and just all the things because it was a lot. Um, I met some really cool people along the way, so I always had people to study with. I feel like our class was very committed in that way. Like before any practical, before any like exam, we always studied together. So having that kind of support system helped so much. It gave me an opportunity to like get to know people and also to shine my light, you know, the light that the Lord has given me, and to be able to show the people around me like who Jesus really is. Through the process of taking this course, I fell in love with science, well, specifically biology. I had already liked biology before this, but I didn't realize how much I liked it until I took this class. I loved everything that we were learning. The cellular stuff is what fascinates me the most. So, using the microscopes, looking at, you know, tissues and all that stuff on the cellular level, it was very hard, but I loved it. And so it kind of unlocked a passion for me. At the same time, I really struggled because I felt like I was constantly trying to prove myself, like to myself, you know, because I kind of always wanted to do something science based, but I never majored in like science. Like, I never majored in biology or anything like that because they always require really advanced math courses, and I've never been good at math, you know. So I just always stayed away from it because I never wanted to take calculus, and I just didn't think that I could do it. So this class ended up becoming this like mountain for me of just a mixture of things, of me trying to prove to myself that like I was smart enough to like major in science. It sounds kind of crazy now that I'm saying it out loud, but yeah, all of that was in my head. And then I was around people who were very driven. Some people needed like an A in this course for their program. So then I kind of felt like I was, well, I didn't feel like I was. I was absolutely comparing myself to all of the people around me. You know, I wanted to have just as good of a grade as them, if not higher. So then I started wanting to impress my peers, and I started wanting to impress my teachers, and you can see where it all went south, right? Yeah. So it became way more stressful than it ever needed to be. I want to make a point as well. Not that it matters. I want to say that it doesn't matter if you take a course and you fail a course. Like, you can take it again. It's really not a huge deal. I know it's hard, but you know, it's not your identity. So I want to make that clear. The only reason I'm going to bring up my grade right now is because I feel like it connects to what else I'm about to say, in terms of the stress. So I never even dropped to a C. I always had a B in that class, but I was still so stressed out, you know. And part of that is because at any moment, like every single test, every single exam required so much studying. And if I didn't come in prepared, I just knew that I was going to fail the exam and then my grade would go down. But I I guess that what I'm trying to say is that even though I wasn't even at a point where I would like be failing the class, I was still stressed out because I was comparing myself so much to all the people around me. Like, you know, I just wanted to kind of be as good as them, I guess. And I realized I did this in high school too. When I was in high school, I took AP classes basically every year, and I always felt like I was like the dumbest person in my AP classes. So I was always trying to like get onto like other people's levels. it's not a healthy mindset to have, but I'm just letting you guys know like what was going on in my head during this summer course and why it ended up being like so much more stressful and so much more difficult for me. Um, what really got me towards the end of it all, I think this was in literally like the last week. So, the last week of school, we took a lab quiz, and I was upset because I knew the answers to the questions, but the way, like, something would just happen. Like, the way that it was worded made me think that it wasn't asking that particular question. So, I'll just paint the picture. This lab quiz, for instance, was asking us about, like, basically you're kind of having to label different parts of the body. So you have the brain, right? And I'm not going to go too much into it, but there's like these little kind of, I don't want to say gaps, but there's these little spaces within the brain, and they're called the ventricles. You have like lateral ventricles, third ventricles, fourth ventricles. Well, that's what it was pointing to, but the question said name the cavity. And I didn't know that that space was called a cavity. So even though I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, I know that's lateral ventricles. I didn't write lateral ventricles because I was thinking like cavity meant like some type of fluid in there. So then I got that question wrong. And basically, a lot of stuff like that happened. So I ended up getting a low score on the lab quiz. And it was just frustrating because I knew the answers. But anyway, I was really stressed out about that. It was evident all over my face because like somebody even asked me if I was okay, and I feel like I was just constantly getting like stressed and tense, and that's not what I wanted to represent to other people, you know. I really want to be someone that has peace and represents that peace to other people because that is a better representation of who Christ is. But I was stressed and it showed. Anyway, there was another student, and I don't even know how the conversation started because I'm pretty sure the student was talking to someone else, but they were basically just saying, "Yeah, you know what? Before I got here, I was really stressed, but then I prayed and I just gave it to God, you know. There's no point in being stressed, and when you have God in your life, you know that everything's going to be okay." Like it was something along those lines. And when the student said that, I felt so bad because I was like, that is actually, I felt bad, but also thankful. It was a reminder that I need it. But at the same time, I was feeling bad because that is how I should have been. But I was so consumed with like getting a good grade in this class, improving myself, that I just like literally lost sight of everything, you know? Not even realizing that the primary reason that I'm even in school right now, like, yes, I'm here to get a degree. Yes, I want to, you know, get a certain job or whatever, but like any position that God puts me in, the reason that I'm really there is to glorify Him. You know, He put me with the people that He did for a reason, to glorify Him. So it was super convicting. And I'm very thankful for that though, because I know that after hearing that, it really sets the tone for what it will be like for me when I go into my next course. But yeah, that's basically it. It was crazy. Like it was so stressful every day, and I did not take good care of myself. Like I did not take good care of my health. I still ate relatively like well, but I wasn't really like exercising that much. I mean, I was literally just trying to spend as much time as possible studying, you know. Um, and I loved learning the stuff too, though. So it wasn't just like, oh, I want to get this good grade. I wanted to actually know and understand the material because I could get an answer right by guessing, you know, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted to really be able to grasp the material because, you know, I want to be able to use it as I continue throughout life. So, yeah, that's my whole story. I really want to encourage you guys with that. If you're in school, if you're at work, whatever, to really just trust in the Lord, be encouraged in Him. Don't stress about your life or your future, and never feel like you have to prove yourself to anyone or even to yourself, because at the end of the day, you're exactly who God says you are, and that's all that matters. So I hope that this video is helpful for you guys, and yeah, I'll talk to you in my next video.